This video chart presentation, NEXS Lighting. It's a NASDAQ Capital Market stock trader, ticker NEXS. NEXS was obviously in a huge downtrend, over top of $1, slipped all the way back to almost a dime. Not real sure if this was news driven, but a big spark came late last week, shot the stock price up in a big fashion. It's held those gains, consolidated very briefly. Now yesterday volume started coming back in. Stock made another nice move up, almost 16%. This is going to stay on radar to try and blow through some resistance and see if it's going to go up and challenge this 200-day moving average, which is still a nice upside. We're going to see a lot of momentum in this play with all that buying pressure. But again, leading into it, it's always good to point out things like the MACD trending back towards zero. It's a positive divergence as the price per share was trending down and found a base. Of course, the break back through zero is now the bullish indication of trend. PPO, slight uptrend. ADX in a pretty neutral position at that point. Money flow index, slight uptrend. Then, of course, took off. People started paying a much higher price per share. Accumulation distribution is reflective of the buying pressure, then a little bit of the sell-off. Now it's back on the rise. Chaikin and money flow was uptrending back towards zero before the move. Now in the green, showing over the last 20 periods. Buys have been outweighing sells. CCI, technical buy point was the break of 100. Holding over top of 100. That would be considered a holding position. Sell signal doesn't come until it breaks back down through 100. Full stow, it's a gauge of momentum. Now pushed past 50 in the upper half of the indicator. Again, that's a bullish position. And the tricks, which is typically a very slow moving indicator, definitely amplified because of the extreme jump in price per share and volume. RSIs finally broke above 50. It's a bullish sign of momentum. And there's plenty of traders out there that look for those RSIs to be over top of 70. It's what they'll refer to as the power zone. Some people may reference it as being in an overbought position. But for momentum traders, it's an extreme sign of strength, and it is possible for the RSIs to trend over top of 70 for quite a long period of time. So as to be expected, a lot of momentum, big shift in trend. Again, it's just a huge move, about 350% from the bottom up to 45 cents. Now I'm certainly looking for the momentum to try and stay in the play. If there is a pullback, there's a few different levels of support. Some right there around 35 cents, a little bit more there around 30. And I'd say there's a pretty strong support that's happened to pull all the way back to a quarter. Now, that's a long ways from where it is. That's an extreme, obviously. I'd have my eyes set on about 35 cents. At least that's a little bit closer for a stop loss if it does pull back. But primarily what I'd be watching for on a day like today would be to see if this can push through 45 cents and even a little bit more resistance up there around 50, which was its top end from the move. And you can see that that was a resistance point in the past. So I'd want to see volume stay strong to keep the momentum heavy. Because if it gets some gas behind it and it can blow through 45 and is moving with heavy volume towards 50, I think it's got a decent shot to come up here and challenge that 60-cent mark as a dynamic resistance of the 200-day, which happens to correlate to a static resistance point as well. But closing at 44, that's a real nice percentage gain if that happens. And the next point of resistance won't come into play again until up in this area of 80-85 cents. I thought I'd wrap the week up with a little bit of a different look at a chart, purely a momentum play at this point. Again, I did no due diligence on this. It's just a technical look at this. I don't know fundamentally what shifted to give this stock this big rise. But now I'd have my eye on a few different key points going forward and see how this stock performs. As always, merely my interpretation of the NEXS chart. Thank you for watching and trade smart.